walk through fire with shadows on my heels. Scars turn to stories that taught me to feel. Lost in the silence, found in the flame. Now wear my battle cry without shame. This isn't the end, it's where I begin. A soul that remembers the fire within.
Welcome back to another episode of A Warrior Spirit, brought to you by Praxis 33. I'm your host, Daryl Snow. Let's dive in. Once in a while, you come across someone who you just know is the right fit for what you're doing. And today, my guest, Tar'Lese Rideaux, is someone who actually embodies what a warrior spirit is about. She is a holistic coach, and she's also faced and overcome her own obstacles. And she believes that every setback holds the opportunity for a comeback, a powerful comeback. So I'm just honored that she decided to join me today and share her story. So you would think that after 143 episodes, I could get the intro right. And I so apologize for fumbling all over that. You just make me nervous today.
I'm glad to be here.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, I know you're in California. Did you grow up in that area?
I did, yes.
So in the same region that you're currently living in?
I'm in Fresno, which is a
Oh,
couple hours away from San Francisco, but close. We're
yeah.
close.
Yeah, so even I can't get the state right. It's like,
We're
um,
okay.
so Fresno, I know, is not a huge area.
No,
What was it like growing up in Midtown California?
pretty boring. I came back here. I had a seizure at the end of 2023 and I needed a 24/7 nurse, if you will. So I moved back to Fresno to be with family so that I could heal and overcome what I was going through. So I didn't expect to be here. I was in San Diego for a long time. I went to Illinois. I lived in Tennessee. I've kind of bounced around, and now I'm back here. So I'm going to be here for a little while, and then who knows what's next? Not sure.
Nomadic life.
Yeah.
I actually used to throw a dart at a map and just move wherever it landed,
Yep.
so I can appreciate the nomadic life.
Yep.
What got you into coaching? Because especially holistic coaching, there's business coaches, there's life coaches, there's transformational coaches, but holistic coaches, in my experience, seem to have a specific connection to spirit and self.
Mhm.
So, what got you into holistic coaching?
So I'm a holistic stress management coach. So I focus on stress management, and I got into that because I was working online with a lot of people, and I just realized that everyone had some sort of stress. They were coming to me to help them with social media, but what I realized is they weren't really needing help with social media. They were needing help with something much deeper than that. And so I decided to go into that field almost 10 years ago, and it's been amazing. It's like you never realize what is stressing you out until you kind of put it all out there. And some it's financial or health related or family related or business related. And so we just get to the bottom of what's stressing them out and then work from there.
And I know from being a coach myself and from being in the business for quite a while, when you have to pivot off of that, what you're passionate about, when life takes you in an entirely different direction, it can be hard and challenging. So, when you had your health issues, you had to make a decision to kind of step back from your
Yeah.
coaching. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I did. I felt like I needed to be in the right mindset to coach other people. I wanted to be congruent, And so it's like if I'm going through my own stuff, I chose to take a step back because I wanted to be 100% for my clients, and I didn't want to have anything else going running in the background. And so I took a little bit of a leave from it, if you will, but it was
And
needed.
And I know that you mentioned your seizure. Was there other internal things that you were battling going on that
No, it
Correct.
came out of nowhere. Honestly, it was just a fluke, random thing that happened. And I've had EKG, EEG, CT scan, MRI, I've had all of it, and they didn't come up with anything, which is a good thing, but also it's kind of frustrating because I wish they would just say, here's what happened, here's what was wrong. But but I feel good now. It took quite a bit. I've had 87 doctor's appointments, I think, since then. And so it's like I lived at the doctor's for a while, and it's a lot. It's like mentally having to replay it over and over and over and over again and, explain my story to the doctor again and explain my story to the nurse and tell them what happened. And so yeah, it's been a lot.
So, as people who have listened to my story and my show, they understand my wife has had breast implant illness for, we've been battling it for 10 years. And you
Mhm.
sound a lot like what we went through for the first 2 years of her illness. We were at the Mayo Clinic three, two, three, 4 times a week,
Yeah.
saw every physician they could ever find, ran all the myriads of tests that you talked about, and she didn't get healed or start her healing process until she did her own research and figured out what was going on. And we had
Mhm.
doctors who she'd take this to the doctor, and uh, they'd look at what she was saying and they'd literally toss it across her desk going, nope, that's not it. And
Yeah.
so did you find that because they couldn't find any thing on their testing that they kind of said, a lot of it was in your head? Because she got that a lot. They literally said it's in your head.
No, no one said it was in my head, but I feel like I don't know. It's just interesting. It's like I don't have any answers, and so it's just like I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just had a seizure one day, and luckily someone was there to help me when it happened. But yeah, no one's really said it's. Who knows if they think that though? They might think that.
Yeah, I find our medical system is like if they can't put you in a little tiny box, they don't want to deal with you, and they just
Yeah,
kind of want to pass you on. So,
yeah,
one of the reasons that I wanted you to come on my show is because you've been through a lot. 87 doctor appointments and all that you've gone through. But you mentioned in one of your Facebook posts, and that's where I came across you is on social media. But you mentioned that your therapist or your doctor had said it was a good idea for you to share your story.
yes.
What was your physician or doctor or therapist? What were they referring to, and how did you feel about it at first?
So I've been through just a lot of random things in my life. Like I had both parents pass away unexpectedly. I've been in the hospital before with different issues, gallbladder, and just different stuff that happened. And I was in the hospital for almost a month while they were figuring it out. And so I've just been through a lot of stuff, if you will. And the doctor or the therapist was like, it's not good to keep this stuff bottled up inside. You need to talk about it with someone other than just me. And you need to get to the bottom of what's holding you back or what's bothering you. And so I just started kind of sharing my story here and there, little pieces of it. And it's helped. I mean, I had several hundred comments from people, that were like, "Oh my gosh, I feel this," or "I resonate with this," or "This is me." And, it felt good to not have to hold stuff in and be able to take a deep breath and go, "Oh, all right, we're good. I can talk about this."
Yeah, I'm not alone in all this. May I ask how
Exactly.
old you were when your parents passed?
I was 20 when my mom passed, and my dad passed away a couple years ago. So in my 40s.
So, not a small child, but still unexpected. Um,
Yeah.
and as you're finding these outlets to share your story, what is the message that you're trying to impart, other than the fact you don't have to carry this alone? Like, what is your big takeaway from it, and where are you sharing your story?
So I think that every setback is a great launch pad for a comeback, and I feel like everything that happens, it sounds so cheesy, but it's meant to happen for a reason, and that there's so much to learn from it. And I've been just sharing my story on social media, really, but I have hundreds of messages of people messaging me like, "Wow, that post you made really resonated with me." And sometimes people won't comment on my wall. They will come to my messenger and just talk to me that way. They don't feel comfortable saying, I have issues too. I got problems as well, you know? So they'll come to my inbox. But I love it because I feel like people are resonating with me and resonating with the story. And there I started a Facebook group called 2025 Comeback, and I just did it for people who are in the same position that just want to have a comeback and want to move forward on a positive note. And it's been great. Like every week there's more people joining, and it's kind of become its own little movement of people that are ready to stop making excuses or ready to let go what's been bothering them and move forward and have a comeback of their own. And so it's been amazing.
I think if I mean, I've been doing this show for almost 4 years now, and what I've really learned through it is that everyone has something that they're dealing with that they're not
Yeah.
always comfortable sharing, and to find a light in the darkness like you who is raising your hand and saying, you know, come join me in this sphere of safety and we'll launch your comeback as well.
Yeah.
I think that's really powerful, especially in today's world. We really need, people like you out there doing it. One thing that I admire about you, there's a lot that I admire about you. I followed you on social media. I found your comeback group, but one of the things that I really appreciate is that you're an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur at spirit. You share not only your message of hope and overcoming, but of opportunity. And some people who are in the entrepreneurial space don't want to offend anyone, so they don't share. They only share, the opportunity and whatever
Yeah.
thing they're in right now and whatever, but they don't share their story or their message. And
Yeah.
it kind of takes away the humanity of the person because then you feel like, oh, they're just trying to sell, sell, sell all the time.
Yeah.
They're not trying to connect. And I think you balance that really well. You try to connect as well as offer your entrepreneurial opportunities.
Yeah. I feel like if you're going to share the good, you should share some of the bad too, and just be transparent. And I do feel like people resonate with me a lot more because I do share my personal story. I've always shared my personal story, and a lot of people say, "Don't put your life out on Facebook," or "Don't put your business out there." And I'm like, I'm always putting my business out there, but that's just how I've always been. Like I talk about the good, and I share the good often, but I also share what's going on with me when things aren't good, and letting people know, hey, we all go through our stuff. We all have something. There's something that everyone's facing right now. And so helping people with stress management, it's been an eye-opening experience because I realized we're all a lot more similar than we think we are. And we all have there's only a couple different categories that the stress is happening in. And so you fall into one of those categories.
Yeah, when I was getting my degree in psychology, I was 50 at the time. And I was amazed, not surprised, but it just struck me as like we've been doing these same questions of humanity for the past 3,000 years, and
Yeah.
not much has changed. It's still very common and very basic of how we're trying to get through the world and get through life. So, yeah, it's not surprising that you can put the stressors or the stress things in a bucket of 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I wanna ask you about the comeback code.
Yes.
Um, I love your photo, by the way. Um,
You know what? That's AI. Isn't it crazy? It looks so much like me.
yeah, I know online you use a lot of your AI images.
I do. I do.
I'm
Yeah.
like, she doesn't need AI. She's pretty in life. So, but
Thank you.
anyway, explain the comeback code.
So the comeback code is it's a 1 hour coaching session where we get to the bottom of what's holding you back, and we uncover and identify that, and then we move forward with a plan of action. So a lot of people they need someone to bounce ideas off of, or they need someone to mastermind with, or they need someone just to talk to. And so I become that sounding board for them during the 1 hour coaching call. And then I send them off with a plan of action. So I'm not leaving them, just dumping their stuff on me and saying, okay, see you later. Bye. So, um,
Ciao. Yeah, I'm out.
yeah,
Here's
see you later. Yeah, so it's been great, and it's just a 1 hour call where we just jive and talk, and people, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I was talking to a friend." That, like, it feels so comfortable. It's like the conversation you and I are having. It's just one on one, just going back and forth. And yeah, I just put that offer out again. I haven't done it in like a year, so I was like, you know what, I'm ready to do those sessions again. Let's do it.
Yeah, I actually have a couple of things that are a little older because you've been going through your stuff and you step back. But you one of the things that I mentioned is like you're an entrepreneur, and I love
Yes.
that. I love that phrase because without the doing or without the action, not much happens. What does
Yep.
entrepreneur mean to Tar'Lese?
It means getting after it and doing it regardless of what is popping up at that time, you know what I mean? Like, doing it regardless, I guess you'd say. So, action trumps ideas every day, if you ask me, so
Yeah, action trumps ideas all the time because otherwise it's just information.
yeah.
So, if you were working with individuals and they came to you and said, I don't know where to start or what, where's your starting point with people? Like, how do you process to get to know them better to help them better? Because coaching shouldn't be, and I don't think it is for you either. It shouldn't be. It's not a one size fits all
Yeah.
blanket thing. So where do you start with folks?
So the starting point that I do is I have them do a brain dump. I have them get everything out on paper. And you would be so surprised what pops up. And people are like, where did that come from? What? I didn't even know that was bothering me. And so I always have them do a brain dump, and I just say, just write, and just what's holding you back, what's bothering you, what's on your mind, what's keeping you up at night. And they just write and write and write. And then we come up with a plan from there, because like I said, a lot of things pop up that they don't even realize. And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this was bothering me. I didn't realize this was on my mind until I had to like dump it all out, whatever. So I always start there, and it works. I mean, I've been doing this almost 10 years. It works, and it's a good way to get to know someone, um as well. Like when I have a brand new client, it's a good way to get to know them and their stressors, if you will.
Yeah. When you were growing up, did you grow up in kind of an entrepreneurial house? Or
No, I did not. My dad was in construction and my mom was in retail.
that's vastly different. That's very blue collar.
Yep.
So where do you think you got your entrepreneurial heart? Because you do a lot of different things. So where
Mhm.
do you think that came from for you?
I just didn't wanna have to go to a job 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or 8 to 6, I just felt like I was meant for more. And not saying anything bad about anyone that has a 9 to 5 job. I didn't like having to be somewhere at a specific time, and getting to only having a lunch break, and getting to the end of the day and still being at work and not being able to do what I wanted to do. And so, yeah, it kind of fell into my lap. And so I was like running with it.
I find parallels to what you're saying because my dad worked at the local press as a pressman for the paper for 25 years. My mom was in banking until later in life, and then she was in retail. So, but I always like, I've had 9 to 5 jobs. Like my wife and I, she's had one job for 30 years. And in that time, I had 30 different jobs. Like I
Yeah.
can't, but I find that I can't conform to the 9 to 5 politics, desires. Like this is all you can work as hard as you want, Tar'Lese, you and I are going to work as hard as we want, and we're going to only make X amount of money.
Yeah.
And the guy next to us isn't going to work at all, and he's going to make the same amount of money. Like,
Yeah.
I just couldn't rectify that in my brain. So
Yeah.
I've always done entrepreneurial things too. You said it fell in your lap. What was your first entrepreneurial experience?
I'm doing social media for restaurants and commercial businesses, if you will. Yeah, I was in commercial finance for quite a few years, and it was like feast or famine. Like, you would work on a deal for months and then it would either go or it wouldn't. And so sometimes I would work on a deal for 5 months and then it would fall apart, and so it was stressful, if you will. And I worked with a lot of churches. I financed a lot of churches, and like working on golf courses and hotels and stuff like that. And I just got fed up with it. I was just like, this is not how I want to live. And so, um, before I was in commercial finance, I worked at a bar. I was a waitress and a bartender. And so those were my first clients. I went and asked some of the bars, I was like, hey, can I help you with your social media? And this is like, we were building an email list and getting people to come and do promotions and working with liquor companies. And um, this is 15 years ago now. And, a lot has changed as far as social media, but I was just getting people in the door and they were happy. And then I went from one restaurant to another, to another, to another. And that just kind of became my thing. So I started launching my own social media products and teaching people social media. And then that is when I realized that I wanted to go into stress management, because people were coming to me for social media and they were stressed out about not converting and not getting clients and XYZ. And I realized that's not really what you're stressed out about. But this is much deeper than this. And so it just kind of parlayed into that.
What's I'm quite a bit older than you, so when I hear you talk about, you just kind of fell into social media, like that was right in the beginning of social media really taking off and
Yeah.
starting to become, what it is today. So you were really kind of on the ground floor learning how
Yep.
to, you know, m- marketing in my day was different than marketing in your day. So you were just learning how to use marketing on this new platform and make
Yep.
it beneficial to you with a broader audience and
Yeah.
more views and follows. So did you have someone who guided and mentored you that helped you, or did you just jump in?
No, I just jumped in and figured it out. And I figured it out quickly, like when you're responsible for bringing butts in the seat, you figure it out quickly.
Yeah, yeah, especially when you get your first paycheck for doing so, you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm gonna figure this out more because this
Yep.
paid me
Yeah.
really well."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been your and I'm gonna bring up this one, I think. Yeah. So I know this was a few years ago, but the reason I have this on here is it shows again how you really quickly became successful in what you were doing because you were in the top 10 and you weren't in this particular organization very long when you received this. So can you
Yep.
explain what this was?
Yeah, that was a network marketing company that I was promoting. And I just, when I do something, I go all in. It's like there's no halfway doing it. It's like 100% or nothing. And so I just decided that I wanted to be in the top 10, and it happened. I was number 7, which was really cool. And I had to bring in quite a few people. And so I just went on social media and started sharing. And that's what happened. Just sharing my life and sharing my results. And this was a health and wellness company, so I was sharing my own health and wellness results, and it just worked out.
You say that so humbly. It just worked out. No, it was a lot of work.
It was a lot of
It was a
work.
lot of effort. It didn't just work out. Like, you don't have this magic wand where it just works out. You actually do the work to make it work out.
Yeah. Yes, I do. I do.
You don't have to be so humble here. What's been your most what's been your most favorite network marketing or entrepreneurial thing that you've gotten yourself into?
Um, so almost 10 years ago, probably like 8 years ago, I joined a company that was giving discounts on travel and retail items or whatever. That was the coolest experience. We built a team of 15,000 people really quickly. We had a huge event. We went to Dubai. 60 of us went to Dubai, and
Wow.
I ended up spending a month in Dubai. It was so much fun. And it was just a really amazing company. They ended up going out of business, so couldn't move forward with them. But while it was working, it was amazing, and it had so much momentum, and there were so many people winning. It just makes me happy even thinking about it. Yeah, it was a great
I
company.
I saw your eyes light up. It's really cool.
Yeah,
What
it was.
now I can't imagine that the trip was a whole month in Dubai. I imagine you decided to stay there.
We decided to stay. Yeah, the trip was, I think 8 days. Our team was there, and then we stayed another week, and then we stayed another week, and then we stayed another week, and it was fun. We just popped around to different hotels and did excursions and all kinds of fun stuff. It was quite the experience, but it was a lot of fun.
Now, as a world traveler, is Dubai your favorite place that you've been, or do you have
I would
others?
say probably I had a lot of fun there. We had a great time. Yeah, I would
You
definitely go back.
well, you because you're doing other things like this, you can.
Yes.
What's this one? I love the turn your bucket list into a lived list. That's like that speaks to my heart. So what's
Yeah,
explain this one?
I was in a travel company about 8 years ago. After that other company went south, I joined a travel company and just got to go around the world. And these are just a couple pictures of different excursions. Like one's in the Cayman Islands, one's in San Diego, Hollywood, went skydiving, just did a bunch of stuff. So that's what I've gone back to is travel and helping people turn their bucket list into a live list, doing the things that we want to do and not having them sit on the back burner.
That's a great opportunity for people. So if you were to say what's on your bucket list that you want to still turn into your lived list, what would it be?
I want to go to Bali. I want to go to Thailand. I want to go to the Maldives. Want to go. There's a lot of things that I have on my bucket list. Just traveling the world because I haven't seen very much of it. I mean, I've been to a lot of places, but not nearly as many as I want to. So that's my goal for the next year, 5 years, is to go see as many places as I can, to be
Do,
honest.
do you just keep a backpack packed, ready to go, like your go
Yeah,
bag?
right. I know. Seriously. Yeah.
Got my little go bag. I'm good. You're home now. Are you healed or healing or pretty close?
I
How are
feel
you?
I feel like I feel good. I feel like there's not really a need to keep going to doctor's appointments because I'm not getting answers anyways. So, but I feel good, and I didn't feel good for a really long time. And so now that I can say that I feel whole, I feel good, I feel energetic, I feel like I'm healthy again, um, which is amazing because I didn't feel good for so long, and I felt hopeless a lot of the visits because I didn't get any answers, and so I was like, "Oh, when is this going to end? Like, what is going on?" And so I just kind of realized I'm staying in therapy, but other than that, I'm trying to not go to the doctor anymore. I don't need it. And I just feel like it's not good for me mentally. So, yeah, so I just decided I'll go to therapy. I'll deal with that stuff. But other than that, I don't want to step foot in hospital.
Yeah, it takes courage actually to go to therapy, especially when you're coaching others and helping
Yeah.
others to admit that hey, I too need some additional help.
Yep.
What was your moment? I'm going to call it your come to Jesus moment. What was your come to Jesus moment that said, "I need help"? What got you there?
So I didn't start therapy until after my seizure, and I needed help because I was in just a dark spot. I felt like, what's next? I was just like, God, what now? I mean, come on, give me a break. Things were going so great and then they weren't. And so I just needed to go because I didn't want to stay in that stinking thinking. I didn't want to keep rehashing and going over the same thing. And so I needed someone to kind of help steer me in the right direction. And so it helped. It helps, I think. And I still actively go to their therapy, and I think it's been beneficial for me for sure.
I think, personally, I think most people should have a therapist. We have coaches. Coaches have coaches. We have people that we can talk to, but being able to effectively go and deal with the underlying stuff that you don't normally get with others, I think is extremely valuable. Mental
Yeah.
health is as important as physical health, in my personal opinion. So,
Yep.
if if you were to look back at your life from 10 years ago, 12 years ago, how would you be? How would that woman be different from the woman who sits here today?
I think that I've just had a lot more life experiences that have made me kind of humbled me a little bit, you know what I mean? I am more adventurous now. I feel like when your life is when things are like in turmoil and when your life isn't going well, you always look for like what's wrong. And I tried to look for what's right, what's going well. And so I think that that person, a few 10 years ago, didn't have as many experiences as I've had so far. And so I'm just taking them day by day and learning from them, but sharing. My whole thing is I'm sharing more and I'm sharing the good and the bad. And so I think that the person that I've become is beneficial to other people because I'm just a couple steps ahead of and I'm sharing my lessons along the way. And I think that that's beneficial for a lot of people.
And what has been your biggest lesson that you have learned in this journey that you've done so far?
That things never stay as they are. Like, the bad happens for a little bit of time, the good happens for a little bit of time, the bad happens for a little bit of time, the good it's like there's always ups and downs, there's always ebbs and flows, and it doesn't have to be negative, quote unquote. Just because something's happening to you, it doesn't have to be negative. There's is many great things that happen to me as bad things that happen to me, and I just choose to focus on the good. So my lesson, I guess you say, is get get familiar with the ebbs and the flows and just work with it. Do what you gotta do at that time.
Yeah, you got to be comfortable with the uncomfortable for sure. Uh,
Exactly.
Earlier you mentioned that you were working with churches, or they were part of your early beginnings. Did you
Mhm.
grow up in a spiritual or religious household?
No, I did not. Well, my grandparents are very spiritual or very religious. They're Catholic, and they were very my grandma still she's 90 years old. She still goes to choir. Like, she's in the church. They're in it. But my parents they never really chose to go to church or felt that it was necessary. They just
Did you find a connection somewhere along the line, with God or spirituality or higher self?
yeah, and the older I get, the more I feel like I relate to it, both spirituality and God, you know. So I'm learning along the way. I'm currently doing a faith and finance challenge, if you will, for the month of September, where every day is either a Bible verse or some sort of message that has to do with your finances and faith and how God provides and stuff. And so it's been really interesting because as someone that didn't grow up in a spiritual or religious household, it's all new for me. So yeah.
Yeah, and I I grew up in a very Catholic church house on my mother's side, and
Mhm.
then a very evangelical church on my dad's side. So we had Saturday mass and Sunday church. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I consider myself a Reformed Catholic for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
I, I've said millions of times I find more spirituality sitting on a beach listening to the waves than I do some person in a pulpit. So,
Yep.
where we find our connection doesn't matter as long as, we know that we can have it and we count on it. Um, you've mentioned several times that you want to share your story and share your message. What is the main thing you want people to walk away with after they've heard your story? Or what is it that you want to convey in your message?
I think it goes back to the bad times they don't happen forever, and it's really it goes back to your setback can become a comeback, and that's my main message is like don't ever count yourself out. Just keep going and get the help that you need, talk to someone else, get therapy if you need it, reach out, get a coach, whatever you have to do. Um, but yeah, I just think that the bad times don't last as long as we feel like they do. Mhm.
And how
So,
does that relate to your story? Like that's an overarching message and theme, but what elements of your story do you share or relate so that people can understand that arc of good times don't last, but neither do the bad? Like, what
well,
part
so
of your message?
I lost both of my parents to suicide, for instance, and so
Okay.
I share a lot about that. I share a lot about my family growing up and how that kind of molded me into who I am today. And I talk about my parents a lot, and I talk about my seizure a lot too, because that was a very pivotal moment in my life. It was a bad time, a really bad time, and so I try to share my personal stories as much as I can, but it's really growing up, loss of my parents, health related issues. So, like, that's why I did well in a health and wellness company because I had issues before and I worked through them and made it through them. And then with the seizure, it's just been constant growing and learning and figuring it out and just keep going every day, you know? So,
It is, and I'm sorry for the loss of your family, your parents, especially. It is unique that both of them passed via suicide. What would you, if you're looking back, um, what would you say was their moment of this is my only way out? Like, what was happening that
the
created that?
interesting thing is I didn't know either one of them were gonna do it. They seemed really happy, like, my dad, I talked to him the day before, and he was showing me pictures of the remodeling his house, and he's like, "Check this out," and really happy, and I had no idea, and I text him and it went to green instead of an iMessage, and I was like, "That's weird." So I called him, and he didn't answer his phone. I'm like, "That's weird." He always answers my phone call, and so he just passed away, and I had no idea. And it was totally normal the day before.
Wow.
Nothing changed. Everything. He was showing me pictures of the remodel, and hey, here's what I'm doing, and excited and happy to share, you know? And so I'm like, someone that's doing that and sharing their future plans, you wouldn't think that they would do that, you know? And my mom, same thing. I was away to college when she did it, but I talked to her 3, 4 times a week when I was gone, and everything was fine. There was no sense that any of that was going to happen. And so they were both just out of nowhere. Really, it wasn't like they were depressed or they were stressed or they were like none of that. And
Hmm.
so it's interesting because there were no signs.
There were no signs.
There were no signs. Yeah.
And are you a only child?
I have a younger sister.
So her was she as surprised as you were?
Yes, we were all surprised. Yeah.
It is interesting that there was zero signs at all. You
Yeah.
know, 2 years now, my daughter tried to commit suicide, and when we got the phone call that she was in the hospital, in recovery and whatever, with her life, there were signs. Like we could see that she was, in this dark spot. We still weren't able to help get her out, but to have both parents no signs, that's
Yeah.
very interesting. Um, do you find in your work with others that there's a commonality to the stressors? Because in my work with people, when they have taken their own life, it's usually because they've lost hope. You
Yeah.
know, do you find in the work with your people that there's some commonalities on the stressors that they come to you with? I know you put them in 5 buckets, but do you have an overall, like, this is a really big common one?
Not real. I mean, it's kind of even across the field, like it's either financial or family or health, but a lot of it is trouble at home, that's pouring into their work life, and whether that be a spouse or children or something that's stressing them out, that's causing them to not be able to work and not be able to focus. A lot of it has to do with money. People are stressed about money. Yeah.
Do you find, I've found that since COVID, people are more isolated and they're feeling less connected with others.
Mhm.
Do you find that similar things have happened in the people that you've come across in since COVID?
Feel that for myself. I feel like, I've become a little secluded, and thank goodness that I have, meetings like this or webinars I'm on with my team, or I'm tapping into other people. But I feel I didn't expect to come home to Fresno, and I feel a little bit isolated as well. And so I just try to tap into either a team or some sort of other community that I can be a part of, and just make sure that I'm actively pursuing that, because otherwise I would be at home by myself a lot of the time, you know?
And I find this in social media, especially with the younger generation. It has become more antisocial than it has been social. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
really labeled wrong. It's not really social media, right? Do you find over the 15 years that you've been deeply involved in it that it's kind of arced that way too?
A little bit, yeah. I feel like people live their life on social media a different way than they do in person. You know what I mean? It's like there's like a persona of who they are online. And that's why I try to share my story so much, is like make me human again, and not some influencer or whatever you want to label me as. It's like this is a real person, and she's not living one life on social media and one life in real life.
Well, it's like I said in the open. I considered you an influencer
Mm.
because you have so many things going on, but I respected you because you did share, that you do have these hardships and these personal things going on as well. So it made you unique in the fact that you're willing to talk about who you are as a person, not just what opportunities you're involved in,
Yeah.
So I know that you have a huge network of people that you obviously you don't get to where you are in network marketing without the network.
Yeah.
um, what would you say to someone who's trying to bust into business in general, entrepreneurship, or network marketing in specific? Like, what would you advise them in order to be successful? Because there's a lot of sharks and charlatans out there that'll sell you everything under the sun, and then you'll never hear from 'em again. And there's a lot of people who get into those opportunities that don't make it. But for the ones who really want to give entrepreneurship a shot, they're tired of the 9 to 5, tired of the grind of somebody else telling them their time. What would you say to those people?
You have to figure out your why. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? I think that if you can constantly tap into that, it helps a lot. And just showing up showing up is like half the battle right there. You know what I mean? It's like showing up for yourself, remembering your why, and being consistent, and just networking and meeting new people. I think that that's such an important task that a lot of people forget about. They just project to the world what they're doing, sell this, buy this, do whatever, and they're not thinking about the actual connections. Like I have connections with people from elementary school, and I still talk to those people. And so I try to look at someone as a human being, not just another number on the other side of the screen. And I think that that helps because a lot of people, it is all about the followers and all about the numbers and all about the how many sales they get, and not really about the relationships.
And connection on a human level is huge of importance in any field, but specifically in that field. You mentioned earlier that you kind of fell into the entrepreneurial path. You didn't want to do the 9 to 5. I don't fully believe that not wanting to be in a 9 to 5 is the only why. So what was your big why? What was your, like, this is why, other than I don't want to be in a 9 to 5. What was your why?
I wanted to be able to live life on my terms and be able to be the one making the decisions. And like I didn't see that in my parents. Like they were in the grind all the time, and they were just constantly always working, and it's like I didn't see them before work because they were gone early, and I didn't see them after work because they were working late. And so, it was like a lot of meals made my sister and I were making them ourselves and fending for ourselves and really growing up by ourselves a lot of the time, while our parents were at work. And so I just didn't want that. I wanted to live a life on my terms and do things as I wanted to do and be able to come and go as I please. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Which is a huge, not wanting to be told what to do, when to do, and how to do it is like, okay, well, what's the alternative? Well, go do it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what's on the horizon for you next? I know you're getting healthier. I know you're itching to move and travel. But what's on your horizon?
Diving back into my stress management business and coaching business, because I did take so much time away from it after my seizure. I feel like I'm just stepping back into it brand new, fresh set of eyes and new people, talking to different people. And I really want to focus on that. I think that there's a lot of people that need it right now. And I just want to help other people have their comeback as well. And a lot of people don't even realize how much stress is affecting their health and how much stress is affecting their relationships and their business and everything. They don't realize that stress is the thing that's the common denominator in all of this. And so they're not getting along with their spouse, or they're not getting along with their children, or they're not getting along with their coworkers, and it's much deeper than a lot of people realize. So that's on my horizon, is diving back into that tenfold, honestly, and just helping a lot more people.
And what would you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be that I did the difficult things, and that I put myself out there, and that I was someone that people could look up to, and when it comes to persistence and drive, and yeah, someone that doesn't take no for an answer, I guess you'd say. That's kind of who I am and what I stand for. So I'd like that to be a legacy, is that I showed up when other people might not. And yeah,
I think you're well on your way to doing that for sure. From the limited stuff I've able to see online,
yeah.
maybe when I come to Fresno, my wife and I will take you out and see if it's true there. But what do you your illness, and like I said, I've watched my wife battle her illness for 10 years and what it took away from her, because she could no longer work, and she almost died a couple times, and so I've seen how it's taken its toll on her. What is your biggest takeaway from your illness? How has it changed you?
It's made me more understanding and empathetic towards other people because it's like we're all facing a battle that people don't know about, and there's a lot of things that we don't talk about. And I do talk about it, but it's made me realize that there's just a lot of people that suffer in silence, and it's made me a more loving person towards others, and just realizing that life is short. I could have died, and I didn't. And so moving forward, I just want to make sure that I'm doing what I can do to help other people get out of their own situation as well.
Well, like I said, the world needs more light like yours, empathy and sympathy and understanding and compassion. It's not fortunate that, you had to go through your illness to experience some of that, for yourself. But
Yeah.
I'm grateful that you're out there doing what you do, and I think
Thank you.
it's an important platform to be doing it. And I hope you definitely share your message and your story and every aspect of what you're going through. I mean, there's plenty of people who have been touched by suicide. You've been touched by it in a very unique way. I think that gives you credibility when people want to come to you with, hardships like, oh, she does
Mhm.
get it because she's lived it. So I just hope you go out there and just share your story and your message and everything, everywhere you get the chance to. So
Yeah.
I think it's very important. I'm going to ask you one last question. And again, I just, appreciate that you came here to share, your behind the curtain. But what does a warrior spirit or having a warrior spirit mean to you?
It means not giving up and going after what you want, and doing it despite whatever's happening around you. I think that that's what a warrior spirit is to me, is showing up regardless, doing it despite whatever is happening outside of yourself, and showing up for yourself, honestly.
And I
So
think you're showing up for yourself every day. So, you
doing
know,
my best.
yeah,
Doing my best.
I think you're doing a fantastic job. So, thank you for sharing it here and doing it,
Thanks for having
on
me.
this platform. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well.
And if you'd like to get in contact with Tar'Lese, you can get in touch with her on her website, tarlese.com, master your stress. And on our social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, uh, X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And thank you for joining us on this edition of A Warrior Spirit. We're now on all the major platforms as well as Roku via the Prospera TV app. So be sure to like or subscribe to catch all the episode. And as always, the journey is sacred, the warrior is you. So remember to be inspired, be empowered, and embrace the spirit of the warrior within.
It's not just about the fight, it's how we rise from it.